All right, welcome to the Speak Your Piece podcast. My name is Ian McNaughton. Big E here. Pleased to be joined by fellow SYP creator Scott Konkin, who is pulling off a Seattle Mariners turquoise green polo. Is that what that
It's
is?
Nike Golf. I'm impersonating my best Rory McIlroy. It's not working great, but it's something.
Well, the question is, are you? I guess he's not doing it now, but because he's not dating a hot tennis player right now. But the question is, are you dating a hot tennis player at the moment?
No, but I wish.
Mm.
But I
Would you
wish.
would you rather date a tennis player or a volleyball player?
Ooh, tennis player because the volleyball player would probably be taller than me. So
You don't like when somebody's taller than
no,
you in a
I don't
relationship?
mind.
Is
I
that
don't
is that
mind
what I'm
that.
hearing? You like having the dominance? Is that what I'm hearing?
A volleyball player would be taller than me. That's it. Tennis players are. I don't want to say better athletes, but I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't.
That should be an SYP poll. Who's a better athlete, a tennis athlete or a volleyball player?
That should be actually. I don't know. I think it's pretty close. It's different type of athlete though. Because think about tennis is like
Yeah,
right? Because volleyball players have like 3 foot
it's
vertical,
lateral with tennis, and then it's vertical.
vertical with volleyball. Exactly.
It's the big math guy here. It's the y axis with the volleyball player, and it's the x axis with tennis, right? Or is it the
Yeah,
other way
yeah,
around?
that's pretty good. No, you got it.
Is that is math, right? That is
You paid attention in school. Yeah, it's math.
Um, well, I was also fun fact. So yesterday, I was in Everett, Washington yesterday covering the Silvertips game. And were you in my grade 8 French class with Mr. Guerin?
No, that would have been fun though.
Okay, so pretty much one day, like a Monday morning, just out of the blue randomly, like 9 a.m. We're all walking into class, and all of a sudden, Mr. Guerin, great guy by the way, I really enjoyed being in his class, just starts playing Royals by Lord.
Okay.
Just started playing that, and like that was like his kind of like Monday morning pump up for us. Like
Like
he never,
no context.
no context, he just started
Oh,
playing it, and like not that I'm opposed to the song. I think the song's pretty good. I was just not like he's never did that before. I just wasn't expecting it.
caught you off guard.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, has that ever happened? Has this ever happened to you where someone started, a teacher's just started playing music in class before you start class?
We had it a lot during RA meetings actually, which is funny. Not really a
Mm,
teacher, but we had it during like RA like team like whole team meetings. They
mm.
play. There's like the it was called Crab Rave. It's stuck in my head forever, but it's like
Oh, I know
you
that one.
know
Yes.
yeah you don't talk yeah. So it's
Yes.
like at 8 a.m. like
Oh God.
end of August, like it's like 30 it's 35 degrees outside. It was yeah, and like you just bump into that like again. I'm okay with it some days, but some days I wasn't about it. So
So do you cringe when you hear crab rave then?
I do now. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
All
It
right.
got played excessively.
Fair enough. Speaking of cringe, the Dallas Cowboys lost this weekend on Super Wildcard Weekend. Nailed that transition. That's a great segue. Scott, big football guy, obviously. Uh,
Huge.
how many over under 1 hour of football did you watch this weekend?
Under. Under like all I did this weekend football wise was I like maybe watch like 5 minutes worth at work.
Mm.
And then I spend about 10 minutes reading about what the Nickelodeon game
Hell
is,
yeah.
what that's called. We'll get into that a bit later. So I'd say grand total is of 15 minutes of work of research into football. So um let's just say I will be ready for the Super Bowl. That's the only game I watch it all year. So
You do
yeah,
all of your prep in that 2 week period from the championship, like the conference championship games to
yes,
Super Bowl, so that you
yes,
can nail Super Bowl.
exactly. And again, it's 2 weeks. You're coming up for it, so it's gonna be an absolute riot. So I have to be prepared. I have to be fully prepared for the events of said weekend.
It's going to be very litty that weekend in
Yes,
Kelowna for our first UBCO takeover since
the
trying to
pandemic, I think.
pre-pandemic. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I watched some of the games this weekend as well. Later on, I'm going to be chatting with Jevin Lefebvre and Hayden Barton on Left Side Heavy podcast talking about the weekend. So I'm not going to go too in depth into the NFL, into football. If you want more in depth stuff, check out Hayden and Jevin's episode with me. It's their podcast, but it's with me. No, go check out the Left Side Heavy episode. I mean, the Cowboys, I don't know if they're a mess. They're kind of a mess. They kind of feel like a mess. I would listen. I don't know how you feel about the Cowboys. Like, I know you're not a football guy, so you're probably like not heartbroken or pumped one way or the other about the Cowboys. I think the biggest victory this weekend was Ben Roethlisberger getting absolutely shit kicked on Sunday Night Football
by the Chiefs.
Yes,
that was the biggest victory. Is Roethlisberger losing?
Yes, because Ben Roethlisberger is an absolute douchebag.
Really?
Oh God, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
This is common knowledge.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No. Go when you get a moment. You don't have to do it now, but when you get a moment, take 5 minutes out of your day to read Ben Roethlisberger's Wikipedia page and all the sexual harassment and sexual assault charges to his name. The best, like the funniest thing is when, you know, people talk about how like, oh, this guy, you know, really putting the time and the effort and the grind, and, you know, they're trying to pump this guy up. It's like, this guy doesn't need to be pumped up. This is Ben Roethlisberger we're talking about here. This dude does not need to be pumped up.
Right.
The other funny thing I saw about Ben over the weekend was his post-game interview where it's like, you know, God has allowed me to throw a football for the last 20 years or whatever. It's like, you can't claim God at this point either, Ben. You can't claim God. No, this is too late. You've already dug too deep into this. You can't claim God here, man. You're not a born again Christian. You can't claim that.
Right. Wow. This, I'm just quickly reading through. This is
some heavy stuff.
He was suspended 6 games for it.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. I might have seen that over time, but again, I was 10 years old at that point, so I didn't really remember much of it. But
yeah. So that's Ben Roethlisberger getting his shit kicked. Are you and Patty Mahomes like still close? Because you guys are both Oakley guys. Like, are you like a Patrick Mahomes like supporter? Like,
hardcore? Yeah, he's a bro.
He's a bro. Okay.
He's a bro. I think the Chiefs might be in the Super Bowl again.
Oh, that's a bold take, isn't it? The Kansas City Chiefs might be back in the Super Bowl. Wow, bold take.
Yeah. Again, I really don't know. I mean, if Derrick Henry and the Titans, I mean, they're the number 1 seed, right? So yeah. They're gonna be tough to beat, especially if Henry puts up 150 plus yards.
This is the question I should be asking. Who are your top 5 favorite football players? Active football players. Ooh. Who are your top 5 favorite right now?
Right now,
I feel like Mahomes has to be up there for you.
Yep. I'd say Lamar Jackson's also in that conversation.
Okay. Justin Herbert?
Nah.
You seem like you and Herbert seem like you guys would get along.
Would get along? I guess we'd have to find out. What's the guy's name?
Tom Brady?
Well, yeah, he's the GOAT, of course. Gotta put Tom Brady in there.
Tom Brady's in there? Okay.
Gronk, obviously.
Gronk, that's a good answer. I like that answer.
Love Gronkowski. And then
one more guy. Top 5 active football players.
You know what? I gotta throw a Seahawk in there. Put Russ. We'll throw Russ in there.
I think you kind of go with DK.
Actually. Does Earl Thomas still play?
No, he doesn't anymore.
That's too bad. Oh, actually, I do have a proper answer. Bobby Wagner's my favorite.
Okay. All right, that's a good answer. I like that answer. Let's talk about the Nickelodeon broadcast so that you can actually have something relatively easy to talk about football wise. What are your thoughts on a Nickelodeon broadcast?
Oh, it's sick.
Okay, good.
This was the only research I did for this podcast, and it was 10 minutes worth, and it was epic. The article I read was it just very simply explained what happened, and it gave me some like highlights of it's sick. Like if I was 7, 8 years old, I'd be like all over this. This is unreal. My favorite one was when SpongeBob was in the uprights.
Yes.
His facial expression changed when it went through the uprights. It was pretty funny.
Here's the thing. I think most people like it. Like, I don't think it's a unanimously, approved thing. Right. But I really like it.
Yeah.
I think some people just think it's like 7 or 8 people getting in a room together on like hallucinogens. and deciding what would be cool for a Nickelodeon broadcast. Like, let's dump a bunch of slime here. Or let's have the slime come out of the pilot, that kind of thing.
Well, I think that stems from the Kids' Choice Awards, isn't it? Because that's the one where they get slimed if they win.
Well, that's all Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon was like all slime. Like, like when I think of Nickelodeon, I think of slime.
Yeah.
And of course, you get like SpongeBob in there. I think they were doing some like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff.
Yeah, they were like, I think. Well, the thing they did, it was like they would show like each play of each touchdown.
Yes.
And instead of like the actual players on like real camera, they would like make it like a graphic of it and have the Mutant Ninja Turtles like running in the touchdown with just
that rocks.
Yeah, that rocks. They should do that for every like NFL analysis breakdown. That would be pretty funny if they did that.
I would pay real money to see Terry Bradshaw break down a Mahomes highlight in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle graphic form. That would be cool.
That'd be pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, so that's kind of our takeaways from football. Any other thoughts on Nickelodeon, the NFL? I mean, really, this is why hockey can't grow its sport. It's because they don't have a Nickelodeon broadcast or like a Disney Channel type,
Yeah.
You got to have like hockey players, Nate McKinnon has got to do like the wand thing with like Disney Channel. It's like, you're watching Disney Channel. I'm Nate McKinnon. Like that's what you really need.
That would be funny. That would be really funny.
I have no idea. I was gonna say I have no idea what Disney Channel or Nickelodeon are playing nowadays, anyways. But like,
well, ESPN, ABC owns ESPN. You would know better.
Yes, so they're all owned by Disney.
And so pretty good chances that Disney might get involved with the NHL at some point in the next couple of years, but who knows?
Well, ESPN has the NHL rights, so you just get the Disney Channel equivalent. You just get I don't know. Who's a big Hannah Montana to do some NHL Disney? Miley Cyrus? Would you be interested? I don't know.
Never know.
It's a great way to grow the game. Let me tell you. I think that's how you market it.
Agreed.
Speaking of hockey, I don't know. It's kind of been not a quiet week for hockey, but it's I think we just actually have games going on, so like more people are just watching games.
Yeah. Well, again, we had a huge, not huge, well, yeah, it was a huge outbreak of COVID with several teams in the league. I would say like over half the teams had at least some sort of outbreak on their teams. So yeah, a bit of a lull in the season, but All-Star votes did come out.
And okay, let's have this conversation.
Bring it.
This is complete bullshit.
It is. No, 100% is.
And this is why the NHL, along with many other reasons, why the NHL can't market themselves, because no offense to Drake Batherson, he has no business being at the NHL All-Star game.
No.
Like
neither does Adrian Kempe.
Neither does Adrian Kempe. Like so many guys who don't deserve to be there are going. No. And it's not that I don't like. I do like Drake Batherson. I like Kempe. I like these guys as players.
Yeah.
It's literally the All-Star game. You literally have All-Stars going, except you don't, because they're not All-Stars. Like Drake Batherson is not an All-Star. I'm sorry.
No. He shouldn't be. I mean, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. And I mean, same could be said for Kempe. Even Timo Meier, who had 5 goals last night or today.
As we record.
He, again, funny, he got nominated, and sure enough, he's got 5 goals. But even before that, even after this, he's still not an All-Star compared to some other guys that are in his division, even in the league overall.
Well, and here's the thing: if this is how we're gonna do it, make it a popularity contest. Like Brady Tkachuk, even if he's not really an All-Star, he's the most popular senator right now. So Brady Tkachuk can go to the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Kopitar, I mean, I know Kopitar has probably said something about not wanting to go, or I don't want to be there, or that kind of thing, and that's why he's not going.
Right.
But this is the end. Like, make it so that players want to go to the fucking All-Star game.
No, agree. Give it some incentive.
Yeah.
Like, I almost, again, we can have a whole debate about All-Star game format and all that. And the 3-on-3, there's just simply not enough roster space to get the players that should go to get there.
Well, here's the thing. I don't mind the 3-on-3 tournament, but it should be a fantasy draft.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Like, why aren't we doing a fantasy draft? Because we're gonna hurt players' feelings. These are NHL players. Like,
Yeah.
have you never played a hockey game? Do you not know what's said to one another on the ice during the game? Like,
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because again, like, remember, I think it was 2015. Ovi wanted to be last because he wanted the free car,
mm-hmm.
right? So it's stuff like that. Like they make the most of it. Who cares if you go last? It doesn't matter.
No
Like
one gives a shit.
no.
No one cares.
Yeah, exactly. And then that way you could even bring in, you get more players in, guys that say, I mean, we'll talk about snubs in a bit, but guys that should be there because they are worthy of being on the All-Star team. I don't care how many players are already there from your team.
Like, no offense, and I'm gonna be a bit biased here, but like Lucas Raymond and Mo Siders should be all-stars this year.
No, that's yeah. Raymond for sure. Sider borderline, but yes.
Terry and Zegras, all those guys should be all-stars.
I agree.
Like, I'm not the expert in all of this, but if we're gonna make it a true all-star game, let's have the all-stars play and not, you know, I was gonna roast Jasper Brett, but he's actually had a good year with it. He's actually been he's actually been like one of the decent Devils this season.
The biggest one for me was the fact, okay, McKinnon and Makar are there for Colorado, fine. The fact that Kadri's not there is a joke.
Yes, Kadri should be there. I listen in the vote in the final whatever last man in. I'll be honest, I put Barzell over Zibanejad.
Yep, so did I.
And
10 times too.
Yeah, 10 times every day. I do. I take
Yep.
I take 10 minutes out of my day every day to make sure that Matt Barzell is going to the All-Star game.
Yeah, he's got to defend his title for fastest skater.
Well, even then, like, you just have players come for skills comps.
Yeah, I mean that's what the NBA does, right?
Yeah, like
none of the dunk contest guys play in the game. I mean, you've had a couple of them. Like Levine could probably play in the game and be in the dunk contest.
Probably at least this season, yeah.
This season he could, but again, point is like make the skills comp because it's a different night, it's a different event. Like,
and we're all, here's the thing: we're all just trying to get ratings, and we're all trying to make the players cool.
Yeah,
trying to make these players like. You're not at no offense to. Sure, Barzell, you're not going to be as cool if you don't show up for a skills comp. And if the NHL is smart, they're going to get Barzell to show up on a Saturday night. They're going to pay him whatever to go to Vegas on a Saturday night and perform in a skills comp.
Exactly. And again, think about like an all-star, because Zegras is an all-star. Think about him in a skills competition. Like, he's going to rip that thing apart. Or like put in, I don't know,
Lucas Raymond.
You could put in Tim Stützle would be pretty good too. Even though they're not necessarily all-stars, they have very unique skill sets to be able to impress and blow fans' minds that are in the rink.
Make hockey cool and make it fun.
Exactly. Yeah. It is a lot of fun, but to people that don't play the game, they don't necessarily know that.
Well, for like in the US where you're like you have a new television partner in ESPN and Turner this year where you're still trying to grow the game.
Yep.
Not a bad idea to, get your biggest stars there.
100%. No, you have to.
So, you want to talk about snubs then for All-Star week?
Yeah,
let's talk about snubs. Who's your biggest snub?
Well, I mean, not to be biased, but Troy Terry is by far the biggest snub.
Okay.
5th in goals. I don't want to say he has carried the Ducks. He hasn't. It's been a whole team effort, but he's been one of the main producing players on the team. And it's unfortunate. I mean, Gibson going, fair enough. He deserves to be there too. But Terry should 100% be there, especially because the Ducks are near the top of the division.
Yeah, I don't have any, disagreement with that. He's also a young guy too.
Yeah.
I mean, a younger-ish guy.
Yeah,
24. He's played in the Olympics. Like, he played for Team USA at the 2018 Olympics.
True.
I don't know why you wouldn't have him there, but again, what do I know? Yeah, probably Terry would be one of my snubs. I mean, Brad Marchand?
Definitely. Oh, 100%.
Like, and again, he might be a guy who's like, no, I don't really want to go to the All-Star game, but like Brad Marchand should probably be there for Boston.
It makes you wonder. I read something. Makes you wonder. I think it might have been from Friedman or Jeff Merrick. Makes you wonder how much his comments about the Olympics swayed, because it wasn't the fans that picked him. It was NHL that picked him, right? So it makes you wonder, like, just what, because again, Marchand's had a hell of a season too.
Basically he's dragged the Bruins back into the playoff spot.
Yeah.
And the wild card that they were going to miss out on earlier this year. So Marchand, I feel like, should be there. I don't know if the Olympic comments had anything to do with it, but
you never know. You never know the agenda, right, behind an NHL.
It wouldn't surprise me considering it's the NHL.
Yeah.
I mentioned Kadri earlier. He's a guy who I feel like should really be there.
Definitely.
I mean, Crosby, like, even like, again, this is another case of like Marchand where it's like, I feel like Crosby probably just said, I don't want to go. I don't want to be there for the weekend.
Yeah.
Which I'm sorry, but you're Sidney Crosby. Like, you have to be obligated. Like, you're obligated to go and do this. There's no backing out of this. I'm sorry.
But again, you never really know, again, like what he's thinking, because he might actually like want to go. He just didn't get selected because he hasn't played enough games or injuries or whatever. Who knows? Like, you just don't know.
No, and I'm not saying that's why he didn't get it, but it kind of feels like that's the vibe I get. That's the vibe I get, is that some of these guys didn't want to go. Am I missing anybody who's a real major snub?
Yeah, there's three others that I've got in mind.
Okay.
First one I'm gonna say is Igor Shesterkin.
Good pick. And
again, let's not forget, Kreider has had a very good year, and he's the selection for the Rangers. He's had a very good year. He's not worthy of missing the game. He should be there. But Shesterkin is also has been an excellent year with the Rangers. And
you could make the argument Shesterkin is the reason why the Rangers are doing as well as they're doing right now. And I think that's an argument that I would listen to, and that's kind of valid.
Nope, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. The other guy you might find this interesting, Roman Josi.
Okay, yeah, and again,
the Predators are relevant. The Predators are somehow relevant in a tough Central Division, and he's a big part of it.
Again, it's kind of like Nashville's like, you didn't really think they'd be this good this year, and they're holding up. Like, they have more points than St. Louis and Minnesota at this point of the year.
Yep.
You kind of have to.
UC Saros, who is in the All-Star game, has been a big part of that, but your number one defenseman, I feel like, should also be included in that. Especially
there has to be more recognition, I think, for the Preds.
I agree. Yeah.
So that I don't have an issue with either.
And the other guy I had in mind, we talked about Kadri Terry before, but Stamkos as well.
Yeah, for Stammer, if he's not going to the Olympics, he should get an All-Star.
Because again, like Point and Kucherov have been out for at least some sort of chunk of the season. Kucherov just came back a couple games ago, so it's, again, he's been one of the driving engines of the Tampa Bay Lightning and keeping them as relevant as they are. I mean, let's not forget they're a very good team, but he's the captain and he should be there.
And Stammer's, I think, almost got 50 points this year.
I think he's close. Yeah.
It's not for a lack of offensive contribution that he's not going to the All-Star game.
Yeah, he has 45 points in 38 games.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, he should definitely be there.
All right, let's do a quick round the horn for each division right now in the NHL. Let's start in the Pacific. Your Anaheim Ducks are slipping a little bit.
Yep.
I think that's more because Vegas is finally becoming Vegas. And Anaheim's kind of becoming Anaheim.
They're falling back to earth a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. There's a bit of a peak, and now you're kind of going back to normal.
One thing I will say, Gibson's been out for a bit because of COVID issues, and I think that will help a bit. But again, still, you're right. They have come back to earth a bit, and they just haven't been playing like they should. But
they've lost the last 3 games, 2-6-2 in their last 10.
Ugly. It is ugly.
The LA Kings, my LA Kings, maybe I've been hyping them up a little bit.
You've got a team in this division already. You can't take another one. Sorry.
Okay, so I've been hyping up the Kings a little bit, but they're second in the Pacific. Seattle actually beat Chicago today as we record this. They came back, beat the Blackhawks at home in a shootout.
Wow.
I mean, the big story I think in this division right now are the Albertan teams
100%. Yep.
who, I mean, we talk about Edmonton playing like shit, which they have. They gave up 5 goals in the third period to the Ottawa Senators on Saturday night.
That is truly terrible. At
Which
home too, wasn't it?
at home, which here's the thing. I think any sicko, and I'm a sicko, 100%. Any sicko was rooting for Ottawa to win that game.
Yeah.
And they did. And if you're the Oilers, I have no idea how you fix this outside of just getting a goalie. Fix it. It's literally, here's the thing. There's nothing in season I don't know that the Oilers can do that's going to help improve their Stanley Cup chances. These are off-season problems like getting a real goalie, fixing your decor that could have been addressed last summer, kind of were on defense, and they weren't. And this is the result you're going to get.
And the depth is really being exposed right now.
Yes.
Especially like on everywhere, not just up on the defensive core, but also in the forward group too.
And the Calgary Flames, will not go without some conversation here because they are 2-7-1 in their last 10. They've lost their last 4 straight games, currently on the outside of the playoffs right now. However, both Calgary and Edmonton have games in hand on San Jose, who is the second wild card team. The Flames have 6 games in hand on the Sharks. The Oilers have 5. And Calgary's only 4 points back of San Jose. Edmonton's 6 points back.
Ugly.
That's not great.
Nope.
The Canucks are kind of coming back to earth. They had a nice win Sunday against the Capitals.
They did, yeah. Pettersson looked good. He kind of came back, put on a show. I mean, to be honest, the Canucks had a really tough road trip because they all of Southeast US.
This was a grind to get through,
especially after their COVID issues. They had about 10 days off, and they went back and played 3 of the best 5 teams in the NHL.
So. We'll throw it over to Arizona beat Montreal in the Shane Wright Bowl today. We don't really need to talk about that a whole lot. The Kraken,
not until June.
Same with the Kraken.
Yep.
Colorado, they're back to being what they were. Again,
they're a wagon.
Again, them in Vegas. We're setting up here for a Western Conference final between the Avs and the Knights.
Oh, it's gonna be an absolute war.
Those two teams are looking really good. You mentioned the Predators. The Predators are looking really sharp right now. The Predators have more points through the same amount of games than Vegas does.
That's surprising.
They both have played 39 games. Nashville has 51 points. Vegas is 48.
I will say Vegas also started slow. And let's not forget, we don't have Jack Eichel yet.
Eichel's not back yet for the Knights. The Blues played a wild game against the Maple Leafs on Saturday. They're still third in the Central. I still kind of like the Blues as like a dark horse playoff team. If Bennington can get hot, I think that team is set up to go for a playoff run.
Oh, I think the Blues make the playoffs. They're so good.
They'll make the playoffs, but I think they could go on a run. Like I think this is a team that could actually. I think this is a team that could maybe like. I would put a little bit of money as like a dark horse cup favorite.
Yeah. Yep. I don't mind that. I actually don't mind that at all. I really love Jordan Kyrou's game.
Kyrou's been like, especially on Saturday. You saw that Saturday against the Leafs. He was so good.
Yeah, 100%.
The Minnesota Wild are probably going to be the first wild card team. Yep. If they don't make it in the Central, Minnesota's making the playoffs. It's just a matter of wild card Central. 47 points in 35 games. I mean, they have a greater points percentage than the Preds and the Blues.
Right, they do. Yep.
The Wild look really good too. Mm-hmm. And not just in their Winter Classic jerseys.
No, they've been a good group. They beat Anaheim 7-3 a couple nights ago, and I was really impressed. They've got a deep team, and they roll their top nines. Like, there's no other than Kaprizov, no one's really like super noticeable in terms of
No,
like star talent, but they're just good. They're all
no, and that's just it.
solid.
Like Kaprizov gets a lot of recognition,
Yep,
rightly so. But
rightly
I mean,
so.
right? I mean, that's a team top to bottom that can
Yeah,
go head to head with pretty much anybody. I think.
Erickson X, one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah.
Just he's so like he's I don't he's almost better than Couturier, to be honest, in terms of
Hmm.
like a two-way game. I would say he's better at this point.
I could see how you say that.
But it's
Um, Something to keep an eye on with the Wild. They are 12-3-1 at home this year,
that's elite.
so that's pretty good.
That is very good actually.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Let's go over to the Atlantic here.
Yep.
Florida and Tampa Bay are just miles ahead of everybody, I think.
Yep.
Not surprising considering how good they both are.
There's like three tiers in this division. It's kind of funny actually.
It sure is.
It's very noticeably there's three tiers in this division, and it's quite comical actually looking at the standings right now.
And with Florida, I wanted to set up the Minnesota Wild home record because, 12-3-1 is not a bad home record. The Panthers are 21-3 at home this year.
That is truly absurd, actually.
24 home games in 38 games this season for the Panthers. So they've had a good schedule at home to start the year, but
they backed it up too. They have backed it up.
That team's looking really solid.
Yep.
Toronto, I don't. I want to root for Toronto. I think their defense needs an upgrade, and I don't know if they're like. I wonder if Jacob Chikrin would be an option to Toronto.
I don't know if they can afford it.
I don't know that they can. I mean, maybe this year they can. Maybe it means that you're giving you're probably not going to re-sign Jack Campbell in the offseason.
I think Chikrin to the Oilers makes more sense, to be honest.
Yeah, but I don't think the Oilers are going to do it. It doesn't sound like the Oilers are going to do it.
No.
Like Chikrin to the Leafs makes sense in a way to me, but I don't know how they can afford it without giving up another forward or
you trade away one of your current defensemen already. Like you trade Dermott, for example.
And maybe you do that if you're Toronto. Maybe you trade if you can trade like picks and Justin Hall, a package.
I would keep Hall. I'd trade Sandin if you get Chikrin. I think Sandin and a second or a first round pick would get you Chikrin for sure.
That could be interesting.
That could be very interesting.
Again, Boston's 5 points back of the Leafs, probably not going to make the top three in the Atlantic. So Boston's probably playing for a wild card.
Yep.
Detroit, they're 5 points back of Boston, and they've played 5 more games. So Detroit's probably not making the playoffs. They also have a negative 22 goal differential compared to Boston's plus 21. So Detroit's probably not going to make the playoffs.
I wouldn't say that so soon, but yeah, it's going to be tough to get in, especially because the gap between Boston and Pittsburgh and Detroit might really expand.
Yeah.
Depending on who gets hot and who doesn't. So
that's true. And then the Metro, we talked about the Rangers, Igor Shesterkin. That dude is great.
How good are the Hurricanes?
Hurricanes are really good this year.
They're really good.
They have a 743 points percentage, which is really just behind Florida in the East.
Yeah.
A plus 39 goal differential. That team, even on Saturday when they played the Canucks, they looked really good Saturday.
Yep.
And I don't know.
Saturday morning too.
Saturday morning, NASCAR day in Raleigh. And then the Capitals are the Capitals. Like, they're just doing their thing.
Ovi's such an engine on that team, and the fact he's still doing it at 37 just blows my mind.
He's really, really fun to watch, obviously.
Still,
every goal is a big deal when Ovi scores. It's really fun.
It is fun. The Metropolitan's a fun division. I mean, but again, here it's so obvious the gap though. Like New York to Pittsburgh 1 through 4 are clearly better than 5 through 8.
Oh God, it's not even close.
Not even close. Yeah.
And I mean, like even Columbus is playing better than I thought Columbus would be this year.
Yeah.
Um, New Jersey, I kind of thought New Jersey would be a little bit better.
Yeah.
The Sabres were, holding their own against Detroit for about 50 minutes today.
Yeah. Different division, but yeah, you said Sabres.
Sabres, yes, wrong way. It's all the same. It's all geographically the same.
It's all the Eastern Conference, so.
The Islanders too. I want to mention the Islanders purely because the Ianlanders are not having a good year this year.
I will say they do have 7 games in hand on Pittsburgh, but
there is still a difference of 21 points.
True. Yeah.
Math is not quite there.
Nope, you're right. But the Islanders could and should be better.
Also true. Any other hockey notes? Any other NHL stuff that you wanted to mention, to throw out there? Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about with you. The Kraken now have a team dog.
A team dog.
A team dog that they introduced today.
Cool.
Do you know what his name is?
I don't know. This is news to me.
The name of the Seattle Kraken's team dog is Davy Jones.
That's sick. I love it. I absolutely love it.
It was like really brightened my day today when I saw that, and it's like, that's cool.
That is
rocks.
cool. That is cool.
I want to see if I can figure out what kind of dog it is for you. So basically the Kraken are 1-0 with a team dog. It is a
Husky rescue.
A 4-month-old Husky rescue.
Nice. That's very fitting for the Northwest, though.
That's good.
Seattle.
Husky, well, like like Washington Husky.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
So it works. It's perfect.
100%. That's awesome. Davy Jones, I love it. That's yeah.
We're big Davy Jones fans.
The Kraken are doing it right. I mean, their team's not great on the ice, but
they're doing it right in every regard outside of the on ice product.
Off the ice, yeah.
Yeah. You want to do a little music talk then?
Yeah, we can talk music.
You want to talk about the albums quickly?
Yes.
Okay, so there's two albums that Scott and I want to chat about. Dawn FM by The Weeknd, Canadian, and DS Forever by Gunna. And
that's Canadian, not Canadian.
Not Canadian. We should specify that Gunna is not Canadian. SYP creator Ravisher sent me where is it here? I think I might have missed it. But Gunna has the highest selling album in the US right now.
Interesting. Okay.
It's better than the Weeknd's album.
Okay.
Because The Weeknd just listened to like Depeche Mode on a weekend, and it's like, I want to make an album that sounds all 80s all the time. And that's what that is.
Oh, okay. I respect your opinion, but you're wrong.
No, listen, that's literally, that is like entirely like chill 80s music.
No. Yes, maybe you're right.
It's like 75% chill music.
Yeah, that's more like it.
It's like 75% chill music where like Gunna actually has some bangers and actually has like some like
hype songs. Absolutely. The Gunna album has some bangers too. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to compare both. I think the Weeknd album is better, but I'm heavily biased, so I have to think that.
I'm asking the wrong person.
However, I'm not discrediting Gunna's album at all. Gunna's album is very good as well. It does have more bangers and more like the Weeknd. So Dawn FM doesn't have the same like luster that say Starboy or After Hours had in terms of its like hit songs. I think that's the biggest thing with the Weeknd's new album is that it's just lacking that like spectacle of those top albums that he's released in years prior.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like it's not quite as prestigious. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel as prestigious as like his past
Agreed.
albums have.
I agree. However, one thing about the Dawn FM album is that I love the storytelling of it, and the radio theme I think is super sick.
Well, that's kind of what I like. It feels like, and not that I don't think it's a bad idea, but it's like very like MTV, if you know what I mean. Like
Yeah,
very
it is.
80s.
No, 100% it is. Yeah.
Like that, like that's kind of the vibe. I'm like Stranger Things type vibe is what I get from listening to this, like this 80s MTV
Almost,
pop
yeah.
culture. Like that's kind of what I got from it. Whereas the
Yeah.
Gunna album is literally just a dude cranking out bangers and just like listening to hype stuff. And that's where I get with that.
They're two different albums. I think
They are.
excellent. I think they're both excellent albums. Personally, I think the Weeknd album is better, but Gunna's album is very good, and there are some songs that are definite downloads, in my opinion. Do you have a favorite song?
On Dawn FM?
Well, I guess let's start with
I'll go through first of all Dawn FM.
Yes.
The one with Jim Carrey. I'm gonna pull it up here. The one with Jim Carrey at the end.
Phantom Regret.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Phantom Regret by Jim. That was cool.
Okay.
I like Tyler the Creator, so here we go again. That was good. And Take My Breath is probably the most popular one.
Yes, it is right now.
Yeah, and that's probably my third favorite.
Cool.
I mean, on the Gunna album, I listened to a lot of Cake.
Yep.
Poochie Gown.
Yep.
Probably not the most appropriate music, but like when I'm driving in the car, I'm listening to that. I'm getting hyped. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. What are your favorites? What are you enjoying on each album?
Dawn FM, How Do I Make You Love Me is my favorite song. Take My Breath obviously is up there too. I really like the sample on Is There Someone Else is unreal.
Okay, yeah.
Unreal. I love it. What's another good one? Don't Break My Heart's pretty good too.
Okay.
There's about 4 or 5 songs that are absolutely elite. Some of them kind of miss, to be honest.
But that's also the Gunna album too. Like I think there are some songs that I don't.
There are some misses. On Gunna album, Southwest is really good.
Yes.
Thought I Was Playing with 21 Savage. 21 Savage is so much better as a feature than on his own stuff.
Yep.
And this song is a prime example of it. He absolutely snaps on it. So
all right.
Yeah, those are my 2 favorite Gunna songs. Flooded's pretty good too.
Yeah.
And a lot of Cake is also hits hard too.
There's just a lot more bangers, which is I guess what I'm in the mood for right now, which is a lot of like
I agree.
Stuff that's
is it Gunna's best album, do you think?
I don't know if it's his best album, but it might be my favorite.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, yeah, this might be my favorite. I'll come next time when we pod next week. I'll come back with an answer for that.
It's still early too, right?
Yeah,
it's hard to really know for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's any other music thoughts, any other album hot takes that you have?
To be honest, I do have a hot take. These 2 albums will be by the end of the year will be in the top 3 of albums all year. And it's January. In my opinion.
I think with the Weeknd, I don't know about Gunna. Probably the Weeknd, yeah.
Yeah.
Just because the Weeknd, it's just a popularity contest, so people will listen to the Weeknd stuff.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Gunna's gotten pretty big, to be honest. Gotten bigger, at least.
Bigger is, yeah.
I guess, yeah. I mean,
he doesn't have but Gunna, I don't think has the same mainstream popularity as the Weeknd does.
I agree with that. And there's other rap artists that are potentially coming out with albums this year that might get bigger looks at Travis Scott.
I was going to say Travis Scott with the hit new album, I Didn't Kill That Kid at Astroworld.
Yeah. Utopia is the
name. Shit. Sorry. I got that wrong. My bad.
Missed that one.
Sorry, Travis. My mistake. Yeah, that's the podcast for this week. That's all we got. Scott and I are going to be back every Monday for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, this Monday is exceptionally busy, but Mondays will be our podcast day.
Mondays are gonna be a podcast day, so Monday nights, Tuesdays podcast will come out. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening. We're not doing a mailbag because I screwed up with the story. My social media game has been a bit off lately, but that's no reason why you shouldn't be following at SYP Pod, checking out our new stuff on Instagram and Twitter. I also had an article this week on the World Rugby 7 series about New Zealand returning this week because New Zealand was supposed to return and now they aren't because of COVID restrictions. So that article, that 1,000-word piece, in the trash.
All for naught.
All for naught. Better days lie ahead with that.
You hope so.
You hope so. This again, check out the episode with Jevin and Hayden that I do on Left Side Heavy podcast. I'm in Everett on Friday to watch them play the Kelowna Rockets.
Ooh, that's their last game before they come to Kelowna.
That's correct. I think we only go to Kelowna once this year because our game earlier this year got they had to change the schedule because of COVID.
Right.
So, and then of course, obviously we got to promote UBCO takeover February 11th weekend, which is like, I think it's like the 11th. I'll probably leave on like Monday's the Valentine's Day, isn't it? That's a
Monday is the Valentine's Day. Yes.
And
guess who has an exam on that day?
I'm guessing you, because I don't know my exam schedule.
Yes. Yeah. That's the fact you don't know it 2 weeks into school is pretty unfortunate, but.
Well, so basically, one of the classes I do is photography and Lightroom.
Okay.
And I do that on Saturdays.
Yep.
You remember those? I mean, maybe you still have those classes where like everything that you think is right is actually wrong, and everything you think is wrong is actually the right answer that the teacher's looking for. You know those kind of classes?
It's happened before, yeah.
That's kind of what photography feels like so far, because I am like botching quite a number of answers on here and emailing my prof like, hey, I don't think I'm doing too well at this. Maybe some extra help will be needed. Yeah. But I mean, that happened. This is class in school, and I'm supposed to be learning.
It's all part of the grind, exactly.
Yes, exactly. That's what this is. Yeah, that's the podcast. We're all learning and grinding. That should be the episode, learning and grinding. Nice. All right. Scott and I will be back next week. Thank you again for listening. Check us out. Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast. Follow us on Instagram at SYP Pod. Follow us on Twitter at SYP Pod. Check out my work at speakyourpiece.ca. We'll be back next week. See you then.